All right. Hello and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here with us. My name is JC Jones, and I serve as a campus talent specialist with Texas Career and Engagement.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. My name is Lane Blazovich, and I am the Assistant Director for Internships and Career Experiences with Texas Career Engagement. And like Paul was saying, we are here today to talk to you all about internships and give you some strategies on how to search for internships, what employers are looking for internships, and some best practices on how to be successful in your internship search. So with that, there we go. Cool. So what we'll go over today is I'll give you some brief information about career services at UT and who we are as Texas Career Engagement. We'll go over the general characteristics of what an internship is if you're unaware, or if you're might be wondering. We'll answer that definition for you. Some search strategies, talk about what employers are looking for. Like Paul said, we'll hear from some student ambassadors on different internships that they've had, and then we'll give you some time to ask any questions that you might have. So career services at UT is kind of a beast. So there are different functionalities within UT on how career centers work. So our office is Texas Career Engagement. Our office serves all students at UT Austin. So it doesn't matter your major, your grade level, anything. Our office provides a lot of resources, programming, and services for all UT Austin students. In addition to that, every college and school on UT's campus has an individualized career center. So if you're in the College of Business, or if you're a natural sciences student or engineering, those colleges have their own career center that offer additional support for you. So that might be more tailored information for your specific major, but altogether, all of our offices offer these types of services. So career and major exploration, maybe after your first year, you're kind of thinking of a different major, or you're not really sure what type of careers can be associated with your major. Our office and your college's career center can help you with that. Also, a lot of different career fairs, workshops, and events help you with job search, internship search, search, excuse me. And then also coaching. So helping you with your resume, interview skills, how to search for those positions, how to make a great impression at career fairs, and then also a lot of employer networking opportunities. So just know that there are a ton of resources at UT Austin for you all to be successful during your first year, throughout your time at college, and then after you graduate and you're in that alumni position. So before we get started into internships, I just kind of want to start us off with 3 tips that I like to give first year students in regarding to internships, because I often find that a lot of students are sometimes stressed or worried about internships. And that is my first tip, is to not stress. So yes, internships are important. If you don't have an internship right now, that is okay. If you don't have an internship for this summer, that is also okay. Everyone's going to be on a different timeline on when they have an internship. So just keep that in mind, that where your journey is going to be different from someone else's journey. So don't compare your experience to other students. That goes from today all the way through the rest of college. Again, everyone's going to have a different experience. You might meet a peer that has 2 internships in one summer, and you're a senior and you haven't had any. That's okay. That doesn't mean you're less successful. That doesn't mean that other student's going to get a job before you do. We're all doing different experiences. Every experience is a good experience. And that leads me into my final tip, is just do something throughout college. Yes, we're going to talk about internships. They're very important. They teach us a lot of different things, but any experience is good experience. So if you can do something in college besides just going to class, either virtually or in person, if you can join a student organization, do a part-time job, anything like that, that's going to be very beneficial for your career readiness once you graduate. So just do something. That's my favorite thing to just tell students, like, just do something. It doesn't matter what it is, just don't only go to class. So whenever I say do something, like, what exactly can you do? So there are a ton of career experiences that will teach you skills that employers are looking for, will teach you time management, helps you balance a professional network, get experience in a professional work environment. So these are a lot of different experiences. This isn't the whole list. So make sure that you're thinking broadly about it. I often tell first year students, even if you don't do anything, any career experiences this first year, that's okay. You're still probably trying to figure out college, this whole virtual setting. So take time to determine if you like your major first before you start stressing about an internship. So these are a variety of different experiences that will help you gain those skills that employers are looking for. And then not most importantly, but a very big one that we all know a lot about is internships. And that's what we're going to cover today. So thinking about internships, what exactly are they? So internships are either part-time or full-time career experiences that allow you as a student to apply what you've learned in the classroom to a real-world work environment. So I'll use marketing for an example. Say you're a marketing major. You might learn different theories of marketing in your courses. You might learn some different marketing strategies, whether that's social media, direct mail, a lot of different promotions, public relations. So internships allow you to take that knowledge that you've learned inside the classroom and apply it in a real world work setting, whether that's with a for-profit entity, a nonprofit, some campus offices have internships, some national associations have internships. So it's really beneficial for you as a student to kind of look at what you've learned in that classroom and apply it to something real. So internships typically relate to your major, but as you've probably heard, your major doesn't necessarily lead to a career. So if you're a marketing major and maybe you want to do a finance internship, that's totally fine. You might have taken some finance courses and that's really sparked your interest. It doesn't have to be directly related to your major, but it does have to be career related. So what internships are not are like part-time jobs or volunteering. They really have that professional characteristic with them. Internships also are learning experiences. So internships are a great way for you to learn different skills, learn your likes and dislikes at a company. So a lot of internships have learning objectives. Internships typically have a start and end date. That's a real big characteristic of internships. Majority of internships that you'll find will run the same time as your academic semesters. So in the summer, you might have an internship from May to August. In the fall, you might have one from September to December. They just have a start and end date. They don't have to have a certain time within, sometimes I see internships that start in August and they might end in December, but you can also do it again in the spring semester. So just that start and end date is what differentiates those internships as opposed to like a part-time job. Internships also have the presence of a supervisor, and that supervisor is going to be someone who's a professional in the industry that you're working in, and they're going to be there to guide you through that internship process and help you develop your skills, navigate the workforce, and really serve almost as a mentor towards you while you're getting that experience. And finally, internships have feedback. That's a huge component of internships. Because they are learning experiences, you want to be able to get that feedback. So what are some things that you did great on? What are some things that you might want to improve on? The biggest thing about internships is that they're there to make a mistake. Employers aren't going to expect you to know everything and all about a specific subject. So it's a learning opportunity. So whenever you navigate those experiences and after you've completed an internship experience, think about, what did I learn? Did I enjoy it? Did I not enjoy it? And have that reflection process. Internships take on a variety of different characteristics. So these are the main ones. Internships can also be paid or unpaid. You might see a stipend in an internship. Internships can also be in person, or they can be virtual or a hybrid of both. So with COVID, we're seeing a lot of virtual internship experiences, which is great. And then we're also still seeing a lot of those in-person internship experiences. So they take on a lot of different forms. They also sometimes might have a different name. You know, I see a lot of students who might do field research, and yes, it's research, but a lot of the things you're learning from that experience are identical to what you would learn in an internship. So keep that in mind as we talk about different search strategies whenever you begin to look. So there are a lot of benefits to internships. You've probably heard people say you've got to do an internship. Employers want internships. They're really beneficial. And yes, I completely agree. There are a ton of benefits. So one that we've already said is gain skills. So you might have seen a meme, or you always hear, you know, oh, they want an internship, but they want all these years of experience or all these skills that they have. That's not necessarily true. Yes, employers are looking for certain types of skills, and JC will get into that in a second. But internships allow you to gain those skills that are going to be needed for after college. Internships also allow you to evaluate your career plans. You know, I did an internship in an organization, it was a nonprofit. I thought that I definitely wanted to work for nonprofits after graduation. I did a summer internship at a nonprofit, and I was like, whoa, this is not for me. It was a great internship experience. I loved the things I was doing, but I just didn't like the work environment of a nonprofit. And that's okay. I was able to identify those likes and those dislikes of that career field while I was in college, as opposed to not doing an internship, graduating from college, and then once I'm in my first full-time job, realizing, oh, wow, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. I might want to change my career path. So we want you to make those decisions and experience those different likes and dislikes while you're in college. That way you're not wasting time after college to kind of figure out your career plans. And then finally, a big benefit is creating that network. So forming that professional network with other industry professionals. That way, whenever you're going to look for a full-time job, you might already have a network, or maybe you develop a mentor while you're at an internship, and they can help you navigate different job search strategies, or can maybe give you an inside perspective of what it's like to work for a different company. And then finally, biggest benefit of an internship is receiving a job offer. So a lot of interns, as you can see, 72% of interns receive a full-time job offer from the organization that they're interning with. This comes from the National Association of Colleges and Employers, and it's an employer survey and a student survey that ask how internship experiences were. So that's a big proponent of doing an internship, especially your senior year. So I see a lot of students who will intern in the summer, their senior year, and then receive that full-time job offer for once they graduate in May. So it's really beneficial to have that internship. And if you really like that company and you enjoy working for that company and they offer you a full-time job, then that's great. Then you're set for after graduation and you don't have to worry about finding a job. So yeah, those are some benefits. So when we're thinking about internships, a lot of times students come in and they're like, I don't know what type of internship I need. I just need an internship. And that's kind of not how you want to start the process. So when you're thinking about an internship, think about your career interests. You know, what are you interested in? And that can be broken down into a lot of different subsections. So are you interested in working for a small or large organization? Are you interested in working for an organization that deals in a certain subject matter? So maybe like a nonprofit. What's the specific industry that you're looking into? Like, what do you want to do? It's going to be easier on you to narrow down your career interest as opposed to just saying, you know, I'm an English major, I need an English internship. Well, an English internship doesn't really exist. You're going to have to break that down into, you know, what sub areas in English do you want an internship with? Is it writing? Is it publishing? Is it editing? You know, what exactly in that career interest are you looking for? So once you determine those career interests, I always say, you know, 2 to 3, then you think about like, what are your goals for the internship? Are your goals for you to gain experience? Are your goals for you to work on a certain skill? You know, maybe you're an art major and you want to work on graphic design and you get a graphic design internship and you want to build your Photoshop skills. that's great. That's a good goal to have. So think about your goals. Like, why are you doing this internship? What are you hoping to achieve from this internship? And that can kind of help you determine if you're ready or not to pursue those opportunities. And then also thinking about timeline. So internships are typically part-time during the semester. Also during the summer, you'll see a lot of part-time internships. So those usually run 10 to 12 hours a week. What is a good timeline for you to do while you're a student and do an internship? So maybe you know that spring semester of your junior year is going to be a lot of tough classes. Then maybe you don't, not maybe, I wouldn't suggest doing an internship when you have a full course load of really hard classes. Or maybe you know that your family is really involved in volunteering in the whole month of June every summer. Okay, that's great. Well, maybe an internship during the summer isn't appropriate for you, and you can look for an internship during the fall or spring semester. The good thing about internships is that they allow you to work at that organization and still be enrolled in school. So many students, you'll hear probably from our ambassadors later on that they did their internship and maybe did something else why they did it. So don't think that you have to only do an internship. So really think about that timeline. I always suggest students start heavily considering internships at the end of their sophomore year going into their junior year. So just think about that timeline. And then once you think about all that, that will kind of make searching and being ready for an internship a little easier on you, and it'll just cause you less stress. So last thing I have to talk about is kind of like the timeline of becoming an intern. So these, I think, are the 4 biggest chunks of steps that you need to do. Definitely have your resume ready. Like I was saying in the beginning, you have an individual college career center that can help you with their resume, or you can schedule a coaching appointment with Texas Career Engagement, and we can help you with your resume. So have your resume ready. You never know who you're going to meet, and they say, hey, I really enjoyed this conversation that we just had standing in line at McDonald's. I have an internship position available. Can you send me your resume? You want to be able to send that resume as soon as possible. So go ahead and have it ready. Even as a first-year student, I would recommend going ahead and having that resume ready. Then you'll want to search. Jason's about to tell you how to do that. Once you find that internship that you are absolutely in love with and you really want to do, you want to apply to it, you're going to go through the interview process and then hopefully get that internship. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to JC and she'll take it from there.
Great, awesome. Thank you, Lane. Just want to do a pulse check. Is everyone okay to keep rolling? Just drop yes in the chat or a Y and we'll just keep it moving. Yep, we rocking, we rolling. All right. So as Lane said, he gave you all the information on how to look for it, well, not how to look for an internship, but what to look for in terms of when considering. Oh, Paul, I think you're changing my slides. Stay right there for me, please. All right. So I'm gonna just jump right into how to actually go about searching, applying, interviewing, and securing a bag. So if you already heard about Hire You Texas for this portion of the webinar, just pretend that you don't know anything about it so I can explain it again. Hire You Texas is the one-stop shop for all UT Austin students when it comes to jobs, internships, events, and really any career-related opportunities. In the Hire You Texas platform, you'll be able to connect with employers, alumni, fellow students, and also just search and find all of those opportunities, whether it's part-time jobs, full-time jobs, internships, micro internships, whatever you name it, we probably have it in the system. As you can see on the screen, we have over 26,000 employers waiting to connect with you. All of these employers have been vetted so that when you're getting ready to connect with an employer or meet with them or just connect with them in general, they've been already vetted, they're legitimate, and they're not here to scam you. And yes, that number also includes all 500 of the Fortune 500 companies. As you can see also on the screen, as of now, we have over 14,000 opportunities. So again, that's on-campus jobs, that's work study, that's part-time, that's full-time internships, micro internships. We have all types of opportunities available in Hire You Texas. So how do you even get started with Hire You Texas? Paul, next slide, because I don't think I have, there we go. So I'll walk through some best practices, but the first thing you need to do in order to search and apply for an internship is to go to hire.utexas.edu and log in with your UT EID. As a UT Austin student, you already have an account. I'm going to reiterate that. As a UT Austin student, you already have an account. Please do not try to create an account. If you create an account, you'll be blocked. For some reason, if you're having issues with logging in or your UT EID isn't working, please use this email that's at the bottom right-hand corner, hireyutexas@austin.utexas.edu. Include your EID, briefly explain the problem that you're having as it relates to you getting access to your account. And we have someone on our team that'll connect with you directly to make sure you can get into the system and mitigate whatever that issue is. Once you're logged into the system, you'll go through with your UT EID, do your single sign-on. Once you're into the system, we want you to complete your profile. It is so important for you to complete your profile because students who have a complete profile are 5 times more likely to be discovered by employers. It also makes it 10 times easier for you to actually search and apply for jobs and to connect with these employers. Part of completing your profile includes uploading your resume. If your resume is already uploaded into your profile, when you go to apply for a particular position, it's already there. You don't have to go through the process of trying to upload it. You can also upload multiple resumes so that you can see, maybe if you're applying for something that's communications focused and you have a resume for that, or you have a resume that's more tailored to engineering, you can have both of those resumes in the system and you can select which resume you want to attach to each job. It's also really important that you make it public. Think about your profile kind of as like another social media site. If it's private, employers can't see all of the amazing talents and skills that you've listed on your profile. We can't connect with you. And same thing with alumni, like no one can really get to you. So make sure that your profile, your account is public so that employers can connect with you and reach out to you about specific opportunities that they have available. Another best practice is updating your interest in the site. We want to know, the jobs that you're looking for. We want to know the cities that you're looking for. For example, if you know that, once you graduate, you're tired of Austin and it's bizarre weather and winter storms, you don't want to live here. Put that in the system. Let us know that you're looking at, jobs in Portland, or maybe it's somewhere outside of the country. Include all of that information. Handshake. Hire You Texas powered by Handshake is similar to Netflix. The more information that you give it, the more you interact with it, the more relevant, detailed, and defined content you will receive. And it's also important to know that your profile is really based off of your interests. It's based off of your skills, your talents, and your experiences. It doesn't have to be just your major. So if you're looking to, expand beyond your major or your college, you can do that by including all of that information onto your profile. Another best practice when using the site, and I'll actually walk through this after this slide, is using filters and the keyword search so that when you're looking for jobs, go back, Paul, please. So when you're looking for jobs and stuff like that in the system, you can also save them so that each time when you're going into Handshake, you do not have to start from scratch. If you already went in and you say you wanted to search for an on-campus job that's paid and it's in the summer, you can actually save that search and save those jobs that come up so that when you go back into the system, it's not from scratch. Another best practice is following employers. Who do you want to connect with? Who do you want to work for? Research those employers in the site and make sure that you're following them so that you can stay up to date with all of the information and events that they may have. Maybe an employer is getting ready to have a meet and greet, or they're hosting some type of virtual event. Follow them so that you can be in the know always of what's going on. And then in addition to that, really get active in the system. Hire You Texas is really about using it to your advantage. You want to get these jobs, you want to secure the bag, we really need you to go into the system and get active. Attend these virtual events. Explore the opportunities that employers are having, and make sure that you turn on your notifications so that you can actually receive alerts when things are happening in the system. So now I'm going to actually show you what it looks like when you go to the link to log in. So we'll go to hire.utexas.edu. Paul, if you want to. So you'll get to this screen and then you'll do log in. So you click there with your login. And then it'll go through your Duo. This is actually Paul's information. So this is what the site looks like once you've already gone, you've logged into the system. You'll see jobs, you'll see employers, you'll see all of this information right here on your dashboard. I'm going to go to Paul's profile. I want to actually highlight his profile because Paul is actually not ready to get an internship. If you look at his profile, he only has 15% complete. I'll tell you a quick story about why it's also really important for you to have your profile complete. We had two students, one with a profile that was at 100% and a student similar to Paul who only had 15% complete. We gave them both the task of going in and finding, a specific job. And we were able to see that the student who had a profile that was 100% complete was able to find that job and, get connected within 5 minutes. The student like Paul, who only had 15%, it took them, actually, they might still be searching for that job right now because they're not getting that information. So that's why it's also really important for you to completely complete your profile so that all of the information that employers need to see and that you want to share with employers is available on your site. So on your profile, you can add your photo, you can add a little bit about yourself in the My Journey section. You'll add your education, any previous work and volunteer experience. The cool thing about Handshake is once you upload your resume, you can actually pull that data from your resume and it'll automatically populate onto your profile. So you don't have to retype everything out, which can be really tedious. If you're involved in any extracurricular activities or organizations, Greek life, anything like that, you can also add that onto your profile, which will really help you stand out to employers because they want to see what you're doing both in the classroom and outside the classroom. As I stated, you should definitely include all your interests, where you want to live, or jobs, the cities that you're looking for jobs in, any courses that you may be taking that are relevant to specific jobs that you're looking in. Maybe it's design and innovation or something technology related or writing or editing, add those courses and just really give us all the information that we would need the system would need in order to push you really define and detailed results for your jobs and internship searches. Additionally, you'll be able to have your personal information. You can connect with students. A cool thing also on this area is you'll be able to see once your profile is complete, you'll be able to see what employers are actually looking at your page. Because Paul has not completed his profile, we don't know if anyone's looking for him, and more than likely they're not. But you'll also be able to upload your skills and any documents. This is where you'll upload your resume, your cover letter. If you have a transcript or, maybe a writing sample, this is the area that you would upload it in. So moving forward, we're going to actually go through the process of searching for a job. So you'll click the job tab, and here in search, you can type out, whatever it is that you're looking for. Maybe it's an editor or copywriting job, but I really encourage you to use the filters. You can click this all filters and it'll break down things for you a lot easier. So if you're looking for a job that's on campus and we're in our bag, so we only want paid roles only. So we're going to click paid roles, and then you can go a little further, but for the time being, I'll just do that. But we'll do the show results and you see 46 jobs have been, populated based off of just those two filters alone. As you can see, I've already bookmarked this. Once you bookmark a job, it'll go into your saved job so that when you go back into the system, if you don't have time to apply for it right then and there, when you come back into the system, it'll be waiting for you to apply for. So that's a quick and easy way to go about doing the job search. And then once you apply for it, you'll go into this tab and you can see all the applications that you've been able to, that you put in for different positions. And then under the employer tab, this is where you'll see the employers that you're following, and you'll see any information relevant to events or, opportunities that they have. The more employers you follow, the more information you'll get. You can also search for employers to follow, and it's pretty simple. It's very similar to LinkedIn. Lastly, I want to make sure that you all know how to get your notifications going. So you'll just go back to your name, you'll click notifications, and then say for events, we want to make sure you're getting those events from employers or, from the campus, anything that's going on. You'll go there, you'll edit your notification preferences, and then just make sure that the email checkbox is checked. That way you'll know for sure that you're getting the notifications. All right, let's hop back to the presentation. Oh, okay, there we go. Cool. So beyond Hire You Texas Powered by Handshake, there are a few other places that you can search for your internship. It can be your specific school or college job board, LinkedIn and Glassdoor. Company websites is another great place to look for career opportunities. Say, for example, there might not be an employer in Hire You Texas that you're interested in connecting with. Feel free to go to their website and actually search for whatever career opportunities they may have. Career fairs, of course, but then personal network. I really want to reiterate to you all to definitely use your personal network. Don't be afraid to ask your mama, sister, brother, cousin who works at Tesla if they have an internship opening up for the summer. You never know, what opportunities are out there unless you really put your foot in the door and, say, hey, I'm interested in, an internship, at Tesla this summer. I see you work there, how can I get connected? You really utilize your personal network. This could be family, this could be your professor, it could be your own peers, but definitely utilize your personal network so that you can, maximize your internships search, excuse me. And then lastly, before I pass it back to Paul, I'm gonna tell you just a little bit about the skills that employers are looking for. So as Lane mentioned earlier, NACE, the National Association of Colleges and Employers, they've come together to come up with these 8 skills that you see listed on the screen. These skills are directly related to career readiness. So when employers are getting ready to hire college graduates or interviewing students, they want to know that you're mastering these 8 specific skills on the screen. They want to know that you're getting the leadership skills. They want to know that you know how to work on a team and collaborate with others. They want to know that you can actually think critical, and solve these problems. The cool thing about being a UT Austin student is that in your first year as freshmen, you are exposed to curriculum, to courses, to projects, academic projects that all relate to these 8 competencies. So you're already ahead of the game. If you want to click the link to learn more about these 8 competencies, I've included it at the bottom, but again, just wanted to just throw out these 8 competencies. These are the things that employers are definitely looking for. And you can also include these on your profile. The cool thing about Hire You Texas is a lot of the jobs in there, you'll see that some of these competencies are actually listed in the job description. So when you go to apply for a specific job, they might have it highlighted that, the position will be really tailored to the competency of teamwork and collaboration, or maybe it's digital technology, or really focused on oral and written communications, but you're already getting exposed to this information in your core. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Paul and we'll hear from some of your student peers.
Okay, hi. Well, thank you again, JC and Lane. I appreciate it so much. After every single one of our workshops, I tell the students that I meet with that you should probably watch this workshop on Canvas because I also learned something. As you saw in my profile, I'm a grad student who has not filled out my handshake. And now I know that I should probably go in and get that done. So good on y'all for being here, and definitely let your peers know to watch it on Canvas so that they can also learn how to do that, why to do that, and get all the tips that you got to get here today. But without further ado, I am going to let 2 of our two of your peers introduce themselves. One of them is a ambassador, and the other one is a current UC for Me student, but I will let Ben and Real introduce themselves. And Ben, I'm just gonna look at you first since your name's first.
Yeah, okay. Hey y'all, my name is Ben. I'm currently a freshman and I'm majoring in both architecture and architectural engineering. And then I threw in a minor for international business as well. And as you can see, my experiences, I was an intern for a German architecture firm while I lived abroad in Germany last year.
Hey y'all, my name is Real. I'm a junior at UT. I'm an economics major with a minor in entrepreneurship. And one of the internships I've had in the past is with the City of Dallas in the Office of Strategic Partnerships and Affairs. I don't think we can hear you, Paul. Do you want me to just go ahead and start? Yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and start. Okay, so we're just gonna give you guys like a little bit of information as to how our process went for looking for internships, what skills we learned during our internship process, and how the experience was interning as a student. So I'll go ahead and start off. So my process for finding internships was pretty similar to a lot of what JC said. So I looked on LinkedIn a lot. I was on Handshake a lot. I was looking at company websites. I was even using like my personal network to find stuff that I might even slightly be interested in. So I initially started off by narrowing down my skill set to determine what kinds of internships I could apply for. I would definitely say my biggest mistake was not applying to many internships and only looking for ones that I thought I could fit in perfectly with. But I think when it comes to this process, look for anything that you might even be slightly interested in, because it might show you some other part about yourself that you didn't know you were interested in. And so, yeah, that was my process. Some of the skills I learned while interning is professionalism, because I did work in the city of Dallas. I learned mentoring and teamwork skills. I learned about being a leader, conducting market research, how to be like better organized, and time management skills as well. So definitely a plus. And then finally, my experience while being a student. So I didn't actually intern during the school year, but I will say I interned over a summer where I had like 3 summer classes. So definitely had to learn how to balance work life and school as well. It wasn't tough just because, you know, over time and being a student at UT, you take rigorous courses and you learn a lot of those time management and organizational skills anyways. So translating them into that kind of aspect of my internship was not difficult. So yeah, I'll pass it on to Ben.
Yeah, so my process for finding and applying to internships is also fairly similar. I usually just use LinkedIn or Indeed, and since I'm younger and don't have as much experience as some of the older students, I use my personal network a lot, which is kind of what led to my internship in Germany, because it's going to be quite hard to convince some German architectural firm to take a rogue American for an internship. But during my internship, it was a lot of fun, and I was able to gain a greater understanding of professionalism, as you said, and then as well as learning how important communication is, because since the internship was in German, I really struggled with directions sometimes, but really in order to help them, you have to make sure that you understand all the directions, and by doing that, you learn more as you go in the internship. And then just for working an internship while being in school, mine actually wasn't while I was in school either, because my German high school allowed us to take time off from school to do the internship, which was kind of interesting. But definitely time management, because while I was integrating myself into my host community, you have to kind of manage your time and choose how to impact those around you the most. And I'll pass it back to Paul.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ben. And that last piece from you reminds me that there are definitely opportunities. Can y'all hear me okay? I'm seeing weird faces. Okay, great. There's definitely other opportunities to have an internship abroad. Well, that's like exactly what you're doing. I know when I was in engineering at UT, that was an opportunity that a lot of my friends took advantage of. But I would love if other students that are on the call right now, also other program coordinators or UT for Me staff, if y'all have questions for Ben or Real, or JC and Lane, actually, let me advance the slide because we are at question time and finally get to use the meme that this internship is named after. But yeah, if y'all have questions, feel free to drop them into the chat or the Q&A. Definitely take advantage of all the knowledge that y'all have here right now. And while we wait, Ben, I have a question actually for you. I know that you said that your internship was in Germany and that it was in German. So what kind of like cultural skills do you think that you pulled back from that? How do you think that study or having abroad was a lot different than maybe having one in the US?
Yeah, I mean, just from a learning aspect, I think it was harder because my German definitely was not perfect at the start of my exchange, and they had me doing daily presentations about my work, so it was pretty ugly the first couple of days. But I feel like architecture firms are definitely different between Germany and the US. I feel like the German culture is a lot more work driven and process driven, so it's more focused on time. And yeah, but it was definitely interesting and a great experience.
And I did get a question from Daniel who asked, are you planning on doing another internship this summer or next school year? I think he's asking you specifically as another student who's just entering college, do you plan on getting one done in the near future as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking for one this summer. I went to the career fair and got a couple of interviews from that, but unfortunately nothing panned out. So I've kind of turned back to LinkedIn, Handshake and all that, and kind of my personal network. So I'm kind of deciding which way I want to go. So I may go back to Germany for another one if the pandemic allows, or try and do something with my brother, kind of project.
Awesome. And then JC and Lane, I think y'all may have seen this, but Real and Ben, if y'all have a good answer for this one as well. Adam asked, for things you should include in terms of organizations you're a part of, would it be unprofessional to include something like running club if you're looking for an engineering internship?
I can answer that question. Adam, thank you for asking that. So it's not unprofessional to include something like running club, especially if you're posting it on your Handshake account, because one thing that running club can speak to is collaboration. It can speak to teamwork. And also employers want to know what you're doing besides just, your academic work. So it gives more to you. It speaks more to your personality and who you are as a person. So when you go to an internship, you don't leave those components of yourself outside the door. You bring that into the workplace as well. So it wouldn't be unprofessional to include something like running club.
And we have one other question that came in from Daniel, and we do have another question in the Q&A that I'm gonna come back to, but I think this one is in that same vein as Adam's question, but does volunteering usually attract employers?
Volunteering can help boost your profile to employers as well. Just thinking about when you're volunteering, you're gaining other skills. It's not necessarily an internship, but when you're volunteering, you're also gaining professional skills that you can use in your career beyond college or during college. So yes, you can include any volunteer opportunities or any volunteering projects that you're doing onto your Handshake account or on your resume.
Perfect, thank you. And then how many internships should we do in our college career? Is there a limit? And I'd love to hear from the professionals the answer to this question, but also Real, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I know that you've had a few opportunities as well.
Yeah, so I would say that at least one, if you can get at least one, that is a very good start. And as far as how many, there isn't a limit. If you want to do 5, 10 internships, that's totally fine. I would just recommend trying to go back to that consideration on why are you doing this internship? You know, think about quality over quantity. So if you have a really great internship that you do for a year, that's going to be really good as opposed to maybe an internship that you've done for 3 months and then another one for 3 months and then another one for 3 months. So think about like what you're learning and what skills you're gaining from that experience to determine whether or not you need to do another one. So yeah.
So I have done a couple of internships in my career. So I'm a junior, so I've had a couple years under my belt. I think in total I did about 4, but I did some before college as well. So that's not to scare anyone to think that you have to do 4 during your college experience. But there are also years where I didn't do an internship, but I did like an exploratory program. Like one example of one I've done is like Google Bold, where it's just 10 days over the summer and you just learn about like the business side of the tech industry through Google. So programs like that are also amazing. So you don't have to have an internship where it's 10 weeks over the summer. You can do programs like that and have that on your resume and your Handshake that also look pretty good to employers. So there's no limit ever, really.
Awesome, thank y'all. I'll also add really quick, my very first internship was at the Texas Capitol, working with the Texas Senate, and that was the summer after my freshman year while I was an engineering major. I did not start my first engineering workshop or internship until my sophomore year, and I hated it. So I ended up changing my major, getting my degree in government. So that's another thing that you can take away from internships is what you like or don't like. I didn't hate the job. I just did not like what I was doing. And I knew like, this is what my degree is leading me to. So it also helped me to figure out what I wanted to do major wise. So it's another thing to consider. But we did have another question that asked about a healthy workload in terms of coursework hours while doing an internship in schoolwork at the same time. And I know Real and Ben, y'all haven't had that experience, but Lane and JC, if y'all have any insight there, that'd be great. And if not, I can speak to that for sure.
Yeah, I think you need to really consider on what type of student you are. So if you're the type of student who really needs to dedicate a lot of time to your studies, then that is definitely a priority that we want you all to focus on. So think about how much time you need to dedicate for homework or to studying, and then thinking about how rigorous those courses are. So I've seen students who do internships that have 18 hours, but maybe 6 of those hours were like an activity like bowling, and another one was an entry level like English 101, and it wasn't going to require a lot of time on their part, just depending on that class. So anywhere between your normal 12 hours to 15 hours is pretty average for when students are doing those internships. But really consider on what classes you're taking, the difficulty level of them, and then also how much time you need to commit to that class for projects or group work or whatever it might be.
I'll also add to that too, while things are virtual right now, like if ever we do go back in person, another thing to consider is your commute time. So like if you're getting an internship that, maybe downtown, but you live in North Austin or South Austin, that'll be something else that you would want to consider when selecting an internship. Is like, how long would it take you to get, back and forth to your internship site? Because that'll also play into, the time that you're having to commit to that internship.
Thank y'all. And Real, I know that you saw that next question, but I will read it out loud for you. What sort of personal projects can we start at home right now relating to STEM, specifically engineering?
Yeah, I wanted to answer this question just because I recently found out about a platform that would be perfect for a personal project called Code Academy, where it's free. You can go in there and learn like skills on data science or user experience or coding, just like the basic coding skills. So stuff like that could also be fun personal projects. I'm not a STEM major whatsoever, but I'm doing them just for fun. So yeah, if anyone wants to add.
I think that's awesome for sure. And I would say, I know that Lane mentioned this at the very top of the presentation, but there are absolutely career centers in each of your colleges as well. And they'll have a lot of resources as well to connect you to things more specific to not just your college, but even to your major. So that may be a great place to look as well. We have one other question in here. Employers prefer resumes with lots of graphics to stand out, or resumes that are plain and simple? And I will throw that to JC.
Yeah, I'll take that one away. So it really depends on the industry. So some employers, so like if you're in like an industry such as like advertising or graphic design, they might want to see a resume with more flair. They might want to see more graphics, more colors and things like that. But a rule of thumb is to make sure that your resume is one page. Try to get as much of your information. You utilize bullet points and want to just, they want to see everything that you have to offer, and they don't want to read a lot. Employers typically don't have a lot of time. And so when they're going through resumes, they want to get to the information as quickly as possible. Because I was an advertising major, I'm an advertising graduate. One of the things that I used to do is I would have two resumes, one that was more artsy, more graphic related, and then just a general one. And just depending on the organization and the industry, I would submit either or. So you really can't go wrong, but I would say make sure you just have one of each so that you can make sure that you're spreading, your resume out to as many employers as possible.
Perfect. Thank you, JC. Well, that is it for our questions. I don't see anything else in the chat. I did just throw in there, I had to give JC a quick shout out. She's a two-time advertising graduate, both degrees from the University of Texas. So definitely another place to be building out your network. Another great reason to be connecting with the folks in TCE, because all of them have a whole bunch of different skill sets. Obviously know a lot about internships as we've learned through this workshop, but they also host their own workshops. They have a bunch of opportunities to connect with them, to learn more about internships, jobs, other opportunities that you'll want to be connected to. And I do see one more question that came in, so I'm gonna get it. How do we determine which resume, graphic or simple and plain, to submit to the employer? And I'll take it just because I'm talking already. I think to follow up to JC's point, like I think the reason that she had to is that depending on which employer you're submitting your application to, it's going to be depending on what they're looking for. If you're going and applying to a firm where you're going to be doing graphic design, it may be good to submit your resume that is designed graphically well. But there may be a job that you're applying to where the information is most important, and you want to have a resume that can get as much information onto it, as much experience that you have onto that one resume, and be able to submit that one. But JC, fix me if I said something wrong.
Nope, you got it. And I think also when you're doing your research on an employer or a specific company, you'll learn more about them through that. So some companies in their bios or they're about us, they'll tell you, you know, like we're looking for a really, you know, creative person. We want to see, you know, all your personality on a resume. You know, if that's the case, then absolutely submit the resume that has more graphic design, but really do your research into these employers before you actually submit your resume, and that'll give you more information as to what they're looking for. And feel free to connect with that employer if you can via handshake and ask these type of questions. If you connect with them, they'll be able to tell you for sure, you know, what they're looking for. So utilize handshake. Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to add that to your last point, JC, I've literally had an experience like this where I applied to an internship. I reached out to someone on LinkedIn who went to UT, who works at that company, and then got on a call with them, and they explained to me that it would be better to submit a resume that was really tailored towards me and my style, and like not just the regular McCombs template that everybody uses. So that was really helpful because I only ever use the McCombs template. So that's where reaching out to the network is really beneficial. And then one more thing I wanted to add, on LinkedIn, there's a feature where if you are interested in a certain company, you can filter out everybody who works at that company who went to your school. So you can also reach out to them through there. Yeah, that's all.
The very last thing I'll add, and it's just to the Real's last point, is join organizations that are based on your major or your career interest. Because like I was in National Society of Black Engineers, also the American Society of Civil Engineers, and those meetings, they would always bring folks to talk to us that were from different companies. First of all, especially once we're in person, you know, those companies provided food, but also they would talk to you about specifically what they're looking for at their company. And this is coming from usually an alum of UT Austin as well. So in that same vein as Real's point, like make sure that you are getting connected to the networks, even student organization wise, because they're going to connect you to different companies along the way as well. Well, that is it from us. JC and Lane, is there anything y'all like to add before we close out?
No, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for everyone attending and asking your questions.